guarantee that the judges are going to get really sick of hearing them, and they're going to deem them frivolous lawsuits and not even entertain them at all. But for now, while things are ever changing on a daily basis, I can't say that they don't work, even though I don't agree with necessarily the ethics behind it, unless there actually is a MERS issue, unless there actually is a TILA or a RESPA issue. Even though I don't necessarily agree with the ethics behind it, they work.
Now, ultimately, what you said quite a few times is just a stall tag.
Yeah.
So
all of this is.
Okay, so if I were to get a client to call you, you will save them, correct? Because we hear it on Spanish radio.
Sure.
Stop this, stop that. I mean, there's a lot of.
It's just to stop all of this.
And it's hard because I understand it is their home, but to try to get them to say, hey, you know what? It's just you're just putting a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage.
Right. I mean, listen, I probably consult my clients much the same way you guys do. I'm a little bit different, I find, amongst my colleagues in that I don't sit there and tell them to keep their home. A lot of times I tell them, short sale, short sale, short sale. There's no point in throwing good money after bad. The only time that like this, the only time that something like this becomes a permanent fix is if the person is trying to keep their home. And they go into a Chapter 13, and they do that by, and then at that point we look at it, and is it worth it? Sure, because maybe if you get rid of your second, the home might not have equity, but it might even out. Yeah. And while you're in the bankruptcy, if you get a loan mod, great, and if you get a principal reduction on top of that, then you've hit the jackpot, right? You got to save your home, and you have a little bit of equity in it. You got rid of your second. You got payments that you can afford. That's best case scenario and not what's usually occurring. And so usually I'm telling clients, listen, I know you love your home, probably like you guys are saying. I know you love your home. I know there's a lot of emotional attachment to it, but be more emotionally attached to your future. And take that money that you're throwing away on this non-equity situation and short sale the home to avoid a foreclosure so that you don't have a foreclosure on your record. If you need a bankruptcy to do that, to facilitate that, then that's what we'll do. Get rid of the home, walk away, go rent, or go right now. You can probably buy the same house for less money, and within 2 to 3 years after a short sale, you'll be able to do that. Sure. And the bankruptcy will actually help you do that, believe it or not, because it's going to improve your credit. And then move on and maybe invest in your retirement instead of your home.
Now you did say something right there in the middle. Principal reduction. Why are you throwing that out there? I mean, we've seen small percentage. There has been. There are a few cases when they have found that there was a TILA or RESPA violation.
Just don't mention it. There's no principal reductions.
No, I
very few.
Yeah, because it's very few and far between. Yeah. The banks that I find that do it are like SLS Servicing will do it, Lytton will do it. Sometimes I've seen Bank of America do it.
How much are you seeing though? Is it
probably less than 1%?
Not the times it's happened. The amount that they're bringing down. Are we looking at under 50%? Like say a $300,000 home.
I've seen them bring it down to fair market value.
Okay.
I've seen in one case, this will probably never happen again, and it was with Chase, which is unbelievable to me. They reduced $100,000 and they put them on a scale interest rate that maxed at 5% after 5 years. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was amazing. And they had filed a Chapter 7 and we got rid of their second mortgage with a buy-off. It was just best case scenario. It rarely ever happens. And you're right. Even if I ever mention principal reduction, my next words are, don't count on it. Chances of it happening are this close to zero, no way. So short sale is often the best way to go. And, whether I work with you guys or not, I always recommend short sale these days because it fits the bill. It fits the bill.
I just, okay, so before we finish, anybody has any other questions?
I want to comment before she leaves, but you go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, any other questions before we finish?
There's a question right back here, Ronnie.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is, what percentage are you seeing the junior league holders go after foreclosure in situations, go after the homeowners to...
A lot, and that's a really good question because that goes back to how things are changing every day. So this is a typical conversation, but I'll give you an example of one client. Client calls me and says, I tell her, you have 2 foreclosures, the seconds are going to come back after you on these, especially because under California law, when a home is foreclosed on, if it's your principal residence and it was a purchase money loan, right, the money that you got to purchase the home, then they cannot come back after you, even if it's a second. So you have those 80-20 loans out there. If it was your principal residence and it was a purchase money loan, they cannot come back after you on a deficiency. Okay? But in most cases, they're not. In most cases, they've either been refied or it's a HELOC, right, a home equity line of credit. So they can come back after you. And this client kept saying, they're not going to come back after me. All of my friends had their homes foreclosed. Nobody's coming back after, blah, 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 blah. I used to tell them. I used to work for the banks. I know why they haven't come back after them yet. It's because they are inundated. They're backed up with this whole debacle that happened in 2006. But now they're caught up. And once they get caught up, they're going to come back and sue you. She called me, I think, 15 days later and said, Priest, I got sued by Wells Fargo on the 2nd. I'm like, I hate to say I told you so. She's like, I got to file bankruptcy. And I said, I know. So, you know, it's happening all the time now because now the banks are caught up. And they are, if they themselves, let's say Wells Fargo is the second, is not going after the client on that deficiency, because they still hold the note. Even if there's no property and the lien is gone, they still hold the note, right? It's like owing credit card debt. So if they don't go after them themselves, they'll sell that note to a collection agency for pennies on the dollar, and that's, they're the worst. They'll come back after them like there's no tomorrow, so.
And would HOAs and other juniors also go after the homes?
Yeah.
HOA, I'm sure you guys have noticed in the last 90 days have gotten incredibly aggressive. It is unbelievable what's going on with the HOAs.
The devil's from hell.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening. They're spending more on legal fees than what they're owed by the client.
That's what I call them, devils from hell.
Well, here's the thing with HOAs, and this is what they need to know, what your clients need to know. And this also has to do with how we strategize the time of filing, right? So HOAs, as you guys know, put a lien on the house like this, right, when they're late. And then they actually exercise their rights under that lien and try to initiate foreclosure. Again, beyond me, because foreclosure is incredibly expensive and costs more than what they're going to get back, especially if they do foreclose. Everything goes to the first anyways, first in line. So what we do with the bankruptcy is we strategize the time of filing, if we have the time. If they have a sale the next day, we don't have time. We strategize so that we are getting rid of all of the dues that have come due up until the time that we file. But what they need to know is that they are still going to be responsible on HOA dues, as long as that home is in their name, for every month that comes due after we file. So that's post-petition being after we file. They are responsible for all post-petition dues, but we will get rid of all of the pre-petition dues. But then if they already have a lien, that's a whole nother talk show, That's one of those things that we have to deal with on a case-to-case basis.
Well, I was just going to say, the HOA I was talking about said that they are more concerned about getting in trouble with their community than they are with the actual home itself.
Well, that might explain the incentive behind it.
Do everything they can to satisfy.
But that's really, again, stupid on their part, because they're using the community's HOA funds to fund the legal fees. So they're actually using more of the community's money. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I had a lady on the phone with me last week, and she was getting so upset. She was getting upset with me, and I'm like, I'm not the HOA. I know it's stupid. I know it makes no sense.
What is
but
the
it
cost?
is what it is.
Because I have a friend who works for an association. What is the cost? And she's always sending me
The legal fees?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's twofold. They have to pay, and I don't know. Generally, an attorney can charge anywhere from $150 to $550 an hour. So they hire an attorney firm first to get collection activity started, and then a lawsuit potentially, and or a foreclosure attorney and a foreclosure trustee to instigate foreclosure proceedings. So it could be twofold. They could have both, and a lot of times they do. They have both an attorney to instigate litigation processes, and they also have a foreclosure attorney, foreclosure trustee to instigate foreclosure processes. So again, beyond me. I mean, if it was me, I'd be charging them a minimum of $2,500 just for foreclosure proceedings. So, and most HOA dues collectively, even if it's been 6 months or less than that. So,
and they don't have the money.
Right.
I had a deal that HOA attorney was more, they charge more than what is owed on the property.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. It's their legal fees are more than what's owed. Yeah, it's crazy.
Ronnie, did you want to say? I know I want to say a couple of them.
I want to finalize the chapter. Do you have something to say before we finalize?
Finalize
The chapter with the attorney.
Well, I wanted to give some accolades to this wonderful attorney, but
all right, let me finish then. This is the example I want to use, guys. Let me roll up here the screen a little bit so we can have an example here of what's going on. Okay, watch this. Last Friday, I said to you that in real estate, distressed properties, we have what we call the ripple effect. Do you remember I said we have the ripple effect? Let me repeat it for those of you who did not come on Friday. The ripple effect goes like this. I've seen it over and over. I've been doing this for 3 years and a half, and I've seen it over and over again. In the real estate market, the ripple effect is very simple. It goes like this. If you're investing in Microsoft stock, for example, today, and Microsoft stock today is $45 an hour, $45 per share, sorry, or $45 per share, and then there is a new virus that is wiping out Microsoft computers. What happened to Microsoft stock? It goes down, right? It drops completely. What happened to McAfee antivirus stock that day? It goes up, right? That is the ripple effect. Now in real estate, the ripple effect goes like this. A person receives a letter that their payment is going to increase from $2,000 a month to $4,000 a month. Is that happening? Yes, it is happening. It is happening every day. So they receive a letter that says, "Dear homeowner, you have a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage or 5-year option arm or 5-year whatever the case may be. And this program, this plan that you have right now calls that in 5 years from the moment you got that loan, you're going to have a recapture. So we're going to recapture your loan right now in the month of June. So in June 1st, your new payment is going to increase from $2,000 a month to $4,000 a month." Well, what happened to the people when they received that letter? Well, like I said on Friday, most human beings are honest by heart. Number one, we're honest, and number two, we don't want to lose our homes. So the next thing that happens is we start talking to our wives and say, "Hey, honey, you know, our payment is going to increase to $4,000 a month. What do we need to do in order to make up for the payment?" Well, we're going to need to start saving money. And that's the first thing that comes to mind, right? We're going to start saving money. So we're not going to go out there to eat outside anymore. We're not going to buy things that we don't need to buy. Forget about Amazon.com and iTunes and all the other stuff and the apps for the phone and all that. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to start saving money. When that is not sufficient, because it will not be sufficient, when that is not sufficient, what do they start doing? They start taking money from credit cards. And you know what? The first month they say, well, and I know this because I've seen it over and over and over again. The first month they say, well, we're only short $300. So let's pull out $300 from the credit card, but we're going to pay it back next month. But you know what happened next month? Next month they're not short $300. Next month they're short $500. So now they start pulling $500 from the credit cards. And the next month it's going to be $800. And the following month it's going to be $1,000. And all of you know, all of a sudden within a 6-month period, this is the ripple effect, within a 6-month period they already maxed out all of their cards. And now I have seen people that owe anywhere between $20,000 to as much as $180,000 in credit card debt, because they've been paying off the house for the last 3 years from their credit cards. For the last 3 years, $4,000, $5,000 payments, and they're pulling all the money from credit card debt. Now, you see, and then when they run out of credit cards, because sooner or later they're going to max out the credit cards, so the credit card companies are going to shut them off at a certain point. What they start doing, they start pulling money from their bank accounts, their savings accounts, 401ks accounts, IRAs, which is the worst, because now you're eating all the savings that you ever had made through your entire life, right? And you start pulling money from your savings account, checking account, 401k, etc., 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 and all of a sudden you run out of money on your savings and checking account. And then what is the next step? You start borrowing from friends and family, and believe me, that can go fast. Really, really fast, okay? So here's the thing. You get this person who's been living on the property for the last, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 16 months, 18 months, 24 months, whatever, making a payment on the house or trying to make a payment on the house. But this person is already up to here with debt. This person is already, they have absolutely no equity because they already spent all their money that they have in the checking accounts, savings accounts, etc., etc. And now they come to us for help. Now they come to ask for help because the denial period is over. The denial period is gone, baby. That's it. Now they come to ask for help. Now you have somebody, now let me give you this example here. You have somebody who purchased a property for $600,000. Was it $600,000? Was that expensive in 2007? Are you kidding me? I bought my house for $300,000. It was worth $625 in 2007. And then it went down to like $275 when the market crashed. Believe me, $600,000 wasn't that much. And I don't live in a nice neighborhood like some of you folks. My neighborhood is, middle class, regular neighborhood, right? $600,000. So they bought the $600,000 home with a first loan and a second loan here. They have a first loan of $480,000. They have a second loan at $120,000. $600,000. You get me? So they have a first and second, yes? Now, they come to you and they have a first and second, interest only, or worse yet, option arm, which they not only owe $580 now they owe like $580. Okay, $580,000 here. All right, and they're behind on the payment like $48,000 because they haven't been making their payments in so long, right? And now they have $40,000, let's say $45,000 in credit card debt. Okay, they're behind on the cars and everything else. Come on, you guys. These people are behind on, they're upside down more than they will be ever in their life. You understand what I'm saying? What you're doing right now is, they say, well, how about if we get a second job? How about if we do this? How about if you do that? Listen to me carefully. Your payment is $4,800. And obviously you cannot afford it because you're talking to me. Because if you could afford your payment, you wouldn't be talking to me, right? Obviously you cannot afford your payments. Listen to this, guys. Even if I drop your payment by $1,000, let's say, forget that. I'm going to drop your payment by $1,800. Guess what? You still owe $500,000, $120,000, $48,000, $45,000. How is me dropping you $1,800 going to get you out of the pickle you're in right now? Honestly, I know you love your house, but believe me, you have to consider. My premise is the following. I have nothing against loan modifications when they work. I have nothing against refinancing when they work. But in this case scenario right here, that doesn't work. You know what you need to do? What you need to do is you need to, number one, short sell this sucker right here. Do a BK on this bunch of money that you owe here and all this money that you owe here, so you can start from zero again. You can fix your credit because you can. And I honestly tell you this, mortgage financing, I do mortgage financing. That's what I do, right? What is mortgage financing guidelines? Mortgage financing guidelines says that you can buy a property with a 680 FICO score after 2 years on a conventional loan, with a 640 FICO score on a FHA loan after 3 years. Bankruptcy, 24 months and 1 day. That's 2 years and 1 day, people. 2 years and 1 day after bankruptcy. 2 years and 1 day after short sale on a conventional loan, or even 3 years on an FHA. Do you believe that after 3 years in which you started from zero, because you start on a clean slate, short sale gets rid of the property, first and second. Bankruptcy gets rid of the second, gets rid of the credit card debt, etc., etc. Do you know what banks do after you declare bankruptcy? 30 days after you declare bankruptcy, they start sending you cars.
You're the safest bet in town.
You're the safest. Why?
8 years.
Why? Why do they send you cars? Number one, because you don't own nothing anymore. And banks only make money when they lend you money and you pay them interest. I already said that, right? So they start sending you credit cards so you can get credit cards again. You can fix your credit, and not only you can rebuild your credit. And the guideline specifically says, you can buy your home 24 months and 1 day after bankruptcy if you have made your efforts to rebuild your credit. And it's as easy as applying for those credit cards, because like you said, you're the best bet in town.
Yeah.
This is the best bet in town, because you don't owe anything. They already know that you like to owe money because you had credit cards before, all right? So you're already in the rat race, right? You're already in the wheel, right? Number 2 and number 3, you can file bankruptcy again for
8 years.
For 8 years. That means that you are now personally responsible for the money, whereas with the old debt you were not anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you tell me, in which case in the world you can take somebody that is in this bad position and say, you know what, little modification is going to work for you. Are you kidding me? Really? Come on. That is my entire point. Now, is the bankruptcy for everybody? No, only for people who need it. Is the short sale for everybody? No, only for people who need it. Is the loan modification for everybody? No, only for people who need it, for people that is convenient to. Every scenario is different. And all you have to do, you ask her the question, hey, how about this, how about that, how about this, how about that? What is the answer that she gives you? We have to talk to them because I don't know. Every scenario is different. Every family is different. That's why I spend an hour and a half on all my meetings with the people. I spend an hour and a half because I want to get to know them. Who are you? Where you came from? Where are you going? What are your goals and dreams? How I can help you make your life better. Because ultimately, it's all about making your life better, not making your life worse. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make your life better. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just that. So guys, go out there and spread the word. Spread the word, and yes.
I have a question. How soon can you file BK a bankruptcy after your short sale is completed?
Immediately. Doesn't matter. There's no timing.
Thank you.
There's no time limits as far as, or timing requirements as far as when you can file bankruptcy after a short sale.
Sale closes, you file right away and take care of your debt.
I heard that in filing BK on certain types of credits that you put on your credit card will not be...
Yes, and that was actually a point I was going to make. I was going to make 3 points in regard to what you said. One, that you can use in your spiel. One, taking money out of your retirement, your 401k and your IRAs is the worst thing you can do. The
Absolutely.
Worst thing you can do, especially to put in a home.
Absolutely.
Even if the home has a little bit of equity, if you're falling behind, stock market goes up and down, housing market goes up and down. But over a period of a lifetime, stock market will give you 11% more return than a house ever will. And the housing market will drop much more rapidly, much more deeply than will the stock market, believe it or not. So the worst thing you can do is take money out of your interest-bearing 401k or IRA account and put it into a home, especially if you're behind. Another point I was going to make in reference to your question is, if you are taking money out of your credit cards and you're paying your property taxes, that debt is non-dischargeable. And so if the credit card company within the last 6 to 12 months before you file bankruptcy does a review of your account and sees that you've paid property taxes with your credit card, they will come back and send me a letter and say, Ms. Fishback, nice try, but your client can't discharge this debt. So they either pay or we file a motion for non-dischargeability. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll either negotiate it down to something like 20-30% and have my clients pay on it, either one lump sum or whatever. We'll deal with it. But that is an issue that, you can't do through the back door, which you can't do through the front door. You can't discharge property tax debt. It goes with the property. It remains as a lien on the property.
Let me jump in if I can.
Sure.
I want you to guys know how lucky you are today. And Ronnie's going to, I'm sure, agree with me on this. Today is a 1-year anniversary with me and Ronnie. We've been doing programs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You take me out for dinner?
I'll take you out for dinner. I've been inviting attorneys every month since June, as Ronnie knows. That's my website. I recognize that. So listen to this, guys. Listen how lucky you are. And I say this in a sort of, like when you're parents and you have several kids, you never say which one you love the most, right? Okay. Now, I've been inviting attorneys every month, as Ronnie knows, different attorney each time, right? Since June. By far and away, you are the best attorney we've had. By far. I'm serious, guys. I was taking notes, and I'm not just saying this, because I want you to know I'm doing programs now with Wells Fargo, we've only chatted, I don't even know if we've talked, we've done emails.
Right.
I don't even know if we've talked.
Once or twice.
Once or twice. And I'm doing programs with Chase, Wells Fargo's coming up, Bank of America, and Coldwell Bank. I'm doing a big program out in the Inland Empire. We need to talk because I want you at these programs. I hope you guys were paying attention when she said these things. I made a list because I never heard any of the other attorneys that I brought in here mention these things. First of all, she gave you your cell phone number.
Not to give
Come
to the
on!
customers.
A cell phone number from an attorney! None of the other attorneys that I've invited did that.
That's probably the last time she's going to give it.
Yeah, you don't know what you started now.
No, I get
Now, she said she's available Saturdays and Sundays. When I'm here, I'm back. I can't believe it. That's amazing. Because when do realtors usually? Saturdays, Sundays, open houses. She's available. And then I made a list of so many great things. Then she said, and I never heard any of my other attorneys say this, all my attorneys agreed to do a free conference call. When I say my attorneys, those of you who are with my reostu.com members know you have half a dozen attorneys that are in my network. Parisa's one of them, of course. And they offer free consultation between yourself, your upside-down seller, and the attorney. I've never heard any of the other attorneys say multiple free conference calls.
Right.
That's extraordinary, okay? I was listening to her presentation. She said she's working with one particular client that I think it was 50% down on the Chapter 13. Did I hear that right? Sometimes. Was that? Did I hear that right? That with one, I think you were 2,000 to 4,000. I was just trying to keep track of this.
Oh, right.
And then with one, I think you asked for 50% down.
Always. I mean, we offer based on their circumstances.
And then I heard something I never heard another attorney say, that the other 50%, you, again, correct me if I'm wrong, you factor into the
Chapter 13 plan payment
right,
and often
and
don't
then
pay.
wait, and then the last part was, if they can't pay, then she doesn't harangue them for.
I don't.
Okay, now everybody's going to make a living. Certainly, Parisa does too. But I never heard such generosity ever. Call on the weekends, multiple calls. What else? I want to make sure they didn't leave anything else. And she's not a real estate agent. She doesn't want your listing. Okay? She just wants to help you and help the upside down sellers. We've got to talk because I want you at more of my meetings. Let's give Parisa a really nice.